We installed an oven and a stovetop that runs off of propane on the second deck for two reasons, one of which is people can now cook up top and outside so it doesn't heat up the cabin in the summer, and two, that oven for some reason just pulls a ton of power out of that generator and struggles with cooking. So we've created a second option off of propane that will give you the ability to cook outdoors. The oven, or first off I guess I should say, is 10-gallon tanks, two of them. When one of them is empty, bring it back to Salt Lake. I'll fill it and have it sent back. Open the valve, of course, but I have a timer on it. So you need to open the valve and set the timer. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and anywhere in between. Like that would be like 30 minutes. What that'll do is when you're done with the oven and stove, of course, turn it off. But if you forget, that will also turn it off, so that if somebody, a kid or something, opens that up, it doesn't just let gas out the whole time. So open this and then turn that timer, and then when you're done, shut the timer to off and shut the valve. The items start, I don't have the propane on, but they start like this, and it's a piezo lighter that will just light those. And same with the oven, it's this right knob, you turn it to what degree you want, push it in, and a piezo lighter will light it down here, and you'll be able to see a flame come on and stay on down there. So just keep it lit till that flame comes. The bungee cord always stays on the cover for the mattress covers so that it doesn't blow away. There is a new spare generator that has a higher capacity. It's already hooked up with the power cord. Comes up here. Here's the extension that will go into the shore power cord that you'll bring with you on your trip. So in case you need this spare generator, you'll hook it up to the shore power to this extension, and then when this is running, you would then turn your switch down by the captain's helm to shore power. There is an electric start on it. It needs to be in the middle position to at least run. This is off position. Right now the battery works, however it probably won't for long. There's a choke switch on this side and a pull on this side. The way it's sitting now, the exhaust is shooting out right here, so it should be just fine to do that. Once you're done using it, put the cover back on and tie it up. Spare generator should look like this when covered, and the spare generator will run you in an emergency that the main generator breaks down. It'll only charge the inverter batteries, so it'll keep those going, maybe give you a little time on the electric stove, but you have the gas stove option now. And then maybe when we fix the capacitor start on the air conditioner, it may run the air conditioner. We're not quite sure at this moment if it will. We've gotten some questions about the slide. The slide pump is right here. It needs to be turned on. Once the slide pump's on, of course this valve needs to be in the on position. If you're not seeing water come out when it's in the on position, or it's a weak stream, there's a valve down by the air conditioning unit that is a bleeder valve that'll get the air out, and I'll show you that here in a second. This valve right here is a bleeder valve for the slide pump. If you open that valve up, you'll start to get some water spit out if there's air in the line until it becomes a steady stream. Then you can turn that bleeder valve off and you should have a good flow of water up to the slide. Fresh water valve hookup is right there. The hose needs to be hooked up to it, and then that valve should be turned in the on. Fresh water is in this compartment. It'll reach over to the hose bib over there, which is the closest one to the boat. When filling the fresh water, turn the freshwater pump off at the captain's helm, and then turn this valve under the kitchen sink into the position where the lines will run even with the pipe. When you're done and it's full, turn that to the off position so it'll work, and you'll know it's full when it overflows off the side by the captain's helm. At this moment, the generator is struggling to handle the oven. We might just have too high of a capacity of oven as far as the energy consumption. So for right now, if you run any of the small burners, you're going to be okay, and you might get a little of time out of the oven. We suggest at this point either using just the small burners down here on the generator or the upstairs kitchen stove and oven. The AC is also having a hard time kicking on with generator power. However, there is a power pack in there that does store power to get it started that we are going to switch out in a week or so, so that may solve that problem. But at this moment, if you're on generator power, turn the AC to off so that everything else will work okay. We're still having a problem with the port motor needing to be plugged in back at the motor, so plug it in when you need to use it, unplug it when you're done. Always remember to turn the lake water pump off while you're driving so it doesn't suck air, and then also when you leave, turn both water pumps off. And then also we've added a sticker here to not exceed 3,000 RPMs on the motors. And then the inverter charger system is right here. Whenever you go to shore power or generator power, wait 7 seconds and make sure that this goes on to charge on, AC charge in. You always want to make sure that's charging in. When you go to the off position, remember your 3-pronged, you've got shore power, off position puts you on inverter, and generator would be when you're running the generator. The only exception to that is when you're on the spare generator, you'd actually switch it to shore because that's where your power's coming. And then once you go into the off position, inverter light right there should go on. If you ever have anything that's not working with those two lights, you can either clear the fault if it's a fault, or if this screen says something funny, always take a picture of it and contact me, and I can help you figure out what the solution is to it. Plug-in for the port motor is right there on the back side of the motor. Plug it in to use it, unplug it to be done when you're not using it. Always use the log sheet. We're having some problems with some people checking off that they have done something, but it hasn't, such as turning off the all 3 water pumps, the slide water, the fresh water, and lake water pump. Those get left on a lot. And then also some of the other things that are on this list get checked off but are not done. Make sure you use the checklist on your way out and check it only if it's been done. Generator is running well, and when on uses charges all the batteries, the inverter batteries, the house batteries, runs all the lights, does all that. It's just the stove and oven combination are really hurting it just because of how much energy those stove and oven use. I'm going to look into maybe a more energy efficient units. And then also the AC at this point, without those power packs in there, is struggling on the generator, and that may change in a couple weeks once we put those in. We'll keep you posted. The generator, what I would suggest with the generator is run it in the morning when you wake up to put a charge on the batteries and get your breakfast stuff all done. Run it in the afternoon a little bit when you're doing lunch, and then also dinner, but then maybe an hour or so right before bed, so that when all the lights are on and everything's being consumed, you're putting a good charge on the inverter batteries before you go to bed, and also you're just using the generator to run all those lights that you're using while it's nighttime or right before bed. Inverter control panel. This bar doesn't necessarily indicate if your batteries are full. It's this right here. 14 volts is the highest it should be. Right now it shows 14.2, so the charger's not charging, it's in absorption mode. But 14 volts is the high, and then anything under 11 will start to cause it some problems and be too low. So it's not necessarily the gauge here, it's how many volts you have indicates how charged you are. If the toilet gets clogged, it's usually by toilet paper. The toilet paper will dissolve, so maybe wait a few minutes or 20 minutes or so, let the toilet paper dissolve. There's also a plunger in this back closet right there that if you get some water and a good seal on it, hit the flush button and do a good plunge, that should get it through.